There's a sort of like a champagne problem here. I watch a lot of movies, but I do have kind of lines in the sand, things that I don't love to watch. Movies that I like feel like oppressive weight to watch, and so I put it off and put it off. I'm a chronic procrastinator, as artists are. But, you know, I get these responses from people. People tell me, well, you don't watch all this, you know, all the Marvel franchise BS, but you haven't seen all the classics per se. Like, I just watched Shawshank for the first time last week, for no reason other than it was a procrastination. I mean, I watch classic films, watch what's on TCM or whatever, but it's sort of like under the duress of no one but, oh wow, it's the, you know, there's a revelatory factor to it, versus, hey, you haven't seen Do the Right Thing. You gotta watch Do the Right Thing. You know, so there's an intimidation factor. You have all of that, and I don't know how to respond to it. I feel like I've niched myself in, but then there's this sort of like, the superstructure of all that is this other category that straddles it all. Slow cinema. Do you know what slow cinema is? Agnes Varda once said, in all film, there's the desire to capture the motion of life, to refuse immobility. But as per this great letterboxed list from Earmac, I hope I'm getting your name right, probably didn't. There's an equal and opposite importance to capture immobility, to capture stillness, because film is not just a way to transcend reality, it is a way to understand and to process reality. Slow cinema offers a way to use time and the dilation of time as a motif to sucker punch ideas into people in a way that the typical film pacing can't fully capture, or like I'm saying, the dramatization of life, to use the powers of cinema to create some sort of facsimile, or both, straddling both. It's up to the filmmaker. But slow cinema, by necessity, is movies that are challenging, that challenge you. I think that's the idea of it all. It's something where, whether or not I think that's the intent of the film, the intent of slow cinema is that, like, you're watching these to get something out of it, to learn and to grow, even though there's the instinct to refuse. It's like, to watch these movies is to face reality as much as the movies are to facsimilize it. And slow cinema isn't just long movies. I think that's the other misconception. A lot of times it's long movies that are more than 2 hours in length. But then you get, here's a good, you know, example of the two types or whatever. You have a movie like Schindler's List, which is an amazing and important film, but I say amazing in all the different ways of amazing, because it's a movie that asks a lot of its audience and holds a lot of power and prestige. It's what you would call a homework movie. It's a movie where you're like, oh, we gotta watch Schindler's List. I feel like it's a bummer. There's obviously bummer elements to Schindler's List, but you forget that it's a film by Steven Spielberg. It's like, it's extremely watchable. It's a movie where you're like, dang, and it like keeps a pace, kind of classical movie structure attached to a really profound argument or historical document style thing. And so Schindler's List is a movie that I could watch over and over again. But on the flip side, you have a movie like Jonathan Glazer's Zone of Interest, a movie that I should watch more often, because I feel like I don't fully grasp it as others have. I get it, but like, I don't get it. I fully understand what it's trying to say, and I fully understand the importances attached to it. It's the flip side of a film like Schindler's List. But I think the reason I don't fully get it is because it is slow cinema. It's a movie that is silences, it's corridors, it's haunting in a lot of the same ways as Schindler's, but it doesn't insist upon itself. Is that too reductive to say? Moreover, Zone of Interest is only like 100 minutes, 105 or something like that. It's a reasonably length movie. So it's just kind of like how it's done. But these kinds of movies, I guess regardless of their technical specifications, a movie like Zone of Interest demands your attention. And I think that's the biggest impediment here. It's the biggest cross to bear here, is that my generation and generations younger than me, our brains are fledged, and we want to recoup that, but it's frustrating, and I think for someone like me, I think it's scary. A lot of these movies just feel daunting and intimidating more than just the discourse surrounding them. I look at a film like Jeanne Dielman.
The name of the film is Jeanne Dielman, 23, Quai du Commerce, 1080, Bruxelles. It's not that hard.
Jeanne Dielman is 202 minutes, which is like 3.25 hours, and it's a woman doing chores around the house. There's some artistic aesthetic benefit to that. There's an element of patience, the commentary of the patience of the housewife. There's the acting symposium of it all. The idea that it is the most holistic, real performance while also not being a performance. And there's the layers to that are meta to the narrative, to the commentary of what it's trying to say. And the mental bandwidth of the character being akin to the mental bandwidth that we're going through as an audience member. I see the value in all of that. I just am intimidated by 3 hours of cutting potatoes. And I don't think that's bad of me to say, but I think it's the thing that makes this hard, or the factors to overcome. Because when I have seen slow cinema, I usually am taken and enraptured by it, and I always end up loving it. I mean, even if it's hard, even if it's a case where it's like I didn't like the movie or love the movie, I end up being like struck by it. I think about Tarkovsky, Stalker. I went to see Stalker with a few of my friends. I think it's insane that I went to see Stalker with friends. I went to see Stalker, Tarkovsky Stalker, and it was hard. It's like molasses, that movie. But I think every few months I think in some way about The Zone, like the eerie, haunting sort of like world building that they did to make that feel like the inverted Wizard of Oz, something that was instantly creepy, but also like the Fountain of Youth here. And that contrast with the way that they had like kind of the silent film aesthetics of the real world, or what is real, what is not, or what is meant to be, what is of God, and what is right, what is wrong. And these ideas that are just so nebulously executed that you're kind of left dangling intentionally, but you're left thoughtful. If that isn't kind of worth it, I don't know what it is. If that isn't worth it on the part of the artist, if that isn't worth it on the part of the exercise. If you understand what you're going into and you don't get anything out of it, like I'm skeptical of that take, of that understanding. Because like at the end of the day, I think with Tarkovsky as an example, I prefer Mirror, even though I think it's got the same amount of pacing. I think it's a lot more modernly executed. I think it's less obtuse, so to speak, even if the pacing is the same. And so I prefer Mirror, but Stalker remains as like something that just it's something that you'll forever gnaw on. Maybe one day you'll get it. Maybe one day you'll never get it. I think maybe the point of art is to ask questions. You know, David Lynch knew this more than anything, that like what was more important, a story or an idea, I think maybe was the idea there. They're like just visions that you're gonna pick up. You're facilitating the idea, not forcing the idea to be what it has to be. Like some of my greatest screenwriting lessons were people saying, don't write the movie, let the movie write itself. Like just do the best you can to go with your gut, and the movie will slowly like develop bit by bit, so long as you kind of give yourself over. I think the same is true of watching a movie, but in essence, it's like a movie is like a dream. You know, that's the giant umbrella here. A movie is like a dream, and dreams don't have to make sense. It's awesome when they do. It's awesome when dreams have a meaning, and then we can attach something higher to it and take it and apply it. But I think just these supernal ideas, these kernels, are what matter to cinema. And just as in dreams, the truth is not simple, the truth is not convenient. What do I mean? They also call it contemplative cinema, so maybe that is a little bit easier, a shorthand to define it. The moment that we can gratefully, contemplatively, and courageously watch these movies that have long run times, maybe there can then be hope. Obviously for the individual, but maybe for the society. But that's a slow build. I would say everyone needs to get on this because the necessities of the brain are important now more than ever. But simultaneously, this is slow cinema. Walk into it at your own pace and find something that strikes the heart. And then from there, you can keep working towards the moment it strikes the gut and it strikes the brain, and the moment that in any other timeline you would be completely turned off. You're like, ugh. And you're still gonna be tired. That's the thing, you're still gonna be tired. You're still gonna wanna fall asleep during the movie. You're still gonna wanna pace around, run to the restroom, pause it if you're watching it on a TV. But the more you cinch your claws in to what this artist is giving you, the more that you can live in life more holistically and less frantically. That the moment that we can feel these uncomfortable feelings and bask in them to some degree is the moment that everything starts to feel less scary. Once cinema stops being scary, maybe life can feel a little less scary. There's still gonna be things to be scared about. But simultaneously, film is about understanding. And once we understand it, it's no longer fear of the unknown. So maybe slow cinema is a solve to many things. Slow cinema. Feel it out. Thank you for watching Turner Classic Companion, your one-stop shop for what plays on TCM, Criterion channel, wherever you find amazing classic films. Right here is my most recent video. You should watch it. Pretty sure it might be the one that I did on short films, but also these are gonna live on forever. But the video that I did before this was about short films. Watch that one too. I think I did a good job on it, even though I think the somehow the bit rate was weird, and the quality of it doesn't look as good. That's why this one's in 4K. It's in four of the Ks. So.